I made a video talking about the differences in the fight scenes between comic books and manga. I tried to get the point through that the video wasn't about manga being better than comics, just pointing out the differences in the fight scenes specifically, and how I don't believe comics as an industry are dying. And I got a lot of comments saying that Western comic books and the comic book industry is dying. A very big reason that people in my comment section and many other comment sections say that the reason comic books are dying is because comic books are now full of wokeness and left-wing SJW writers forcing their narrative and forced diversity and this and that. Being completely honest, I believe the wokeness that people talk about as the main reason people don't buy comics is actually a smaller factor than it is. There are definitely annoying writers who want to pander on their narrative. I mean, the writers on the CW Supergirl show are 100% guilty of this, definitely. And things like Marvel's The New Warriors, which genuinely did seem like wokeness was their main narrative, and it kinda was. Like having a superhero named Safe Space and a non-binary superhero named Snowflake, which is just beautiful, peak S-tier writing. And I'm not trying to be like one of those people on YouTube and Twitter that only complains about wokeness, thinking everything is just woke. Like, a person of color being a superhero, that's not fucking woke, it's just regular diversity. I feel like the word woke is just being overused now, and how so many people think that wokeness is completely taken over comics, like how the recent mantle of Superman, John Kent, who was the son of Clark Kent, coming out as bisexual. There were so many people enraged by this, including some members of the queer community, ironically. I remember going on Twitter and TikTok and seeing so many complaints about how writers only make bisexual characters, which is not fucking true, and how so many people said that they're making Superman gay. First of all, Superman is a title. Almost any person can be Superman. There's a Chinese Superman named Kong Kenan. Secondly, John Kent is bisexual, not gay. There's a very big difference between the two. John Kent and Tim Drake coming out as bisexual isn't woke propaganda. Bisexual men exist. The main reason for representation to exist within comics is so that readers can relate to a specific character. The mutants in Marvel are a metaphor for discrimination against marginalized groups, like people of color, queer people, disabled people, etc., and how discrimination against mutants is a metaphor for discrimination against marginalized groups, and how racism, sexism, and other types of discrimination is illogical and doesn't make sense. Comic writers want all types of readers to feel included in their stories. Most comic book stories take place in America. America has gotten pretty progressive in the past years. There's all types of people in such a diverse country, obviously. A lot of people want to feel included in these stories, and a lot of writers want readers to feel included. There is a very big difference between representation and diversity and woke SJW propaganda. Now, I am not at all saying that it's not true. There are definitely a bunch of examples of annoying wokeness in comics, but I genuinely believe that it's a smaller factor than people think. Because a lot of people think that every single time anything related to race or sexuality or something is in a comic, then it must be this woke garbage SJW propaganda. By that logic, Blue Beetle being a Hispanic Mexican man must be woke propaganda. John Kent and Tim Drake being bisexual must be woke gay agendas being forced down our throats. Mark Grayson, Invincible, being hinted as being half white and half Asian in the show must be another example of woke race swapping when it's not. People think that every single thing relating to being a person of color or being queer or disabled or neurodivergent or something is part of this woke propaganda when it really is not. Fans complaining about Miles Morales, a black and Puerto Rican man being Spider-Man, or Kong Kenan, an Asian man being the Chinese Superman, or Tim Drake being bisexual. A lot of fans see that and just immediately assume that the left-wing SJW woke writers making comics PC are taken over, when it's not as much as they think. Miles Morales being black and Puerto Rican is not Marvel being woke. Kong Kenan being Asian and taking up the mantle of Superman is not DC being woke. Mark's friend Philip being gay is not Image Comics being woke. There's gotta be a balance between the two. Like I said, I am not at all denying that this whole thing has definitely had a negative impact on the comic book industry and left a bad taste in the mouths of a lot of readers, both new and old. But I just do not believe that it is the main reason that comic book sales have been going down. Do people seriously not consider how comics can be super complicated to get into? The decades and decades of lore that you gotta read to understand this, How so many series that have had great potential just get canceled because the sales are poor? How both Marvel and DC have a history of rehiring problematic writers? how writers can be swapped out at the last minute and another writer steps in and messes everything up. This whole woke propaganda thing definitely has had a bad impact on the comic book industry, a large one, but I just don't believe that it's 100% the reason why the sales have been going down. It's certainly a factor in it. It's definitely mad annoying when a comic character wants to shit on men and complain about men for no reason. It definitely is real. But woke propaganda being the only reason why comic book sales have been going down, I can definitely see where you're coming from. I understand your view completely, but I just don't believe that it's the main reason. And I believe comics can have a chance again at skyrocketing more. It is not dying. The comic book industry that fuels the multi-million-dollar movies that make it big in the box office, the billions of dollars worth of merchandise like toys and t-shirts, adaptations like TV shows, movies, and video games, an industry like that is not dying. A drop in sales does not equal death. And both sides should open up more. Fans need to recognize that not everything that's diverse is woke, and these actual annoying SJW writers need to understand that their intention can be right, but their execution can be wrong, as what they're doing is warding off new readers and old. There has to be a balance between the two. Thanks for watching. Tell me what you think in the comments. I make videos on all types of media. I got links in my social description. Be kind to yourselves and each other. Thanks for watching.